scrappy friends, welcome to the Crafty Maven Getaway. Today is Free Flow Wednesday and I am using the inspiration pieces to make this background. I pretty much tried to use the bottom part of the second inspiration piece with the ice pops. It had the colors from like a mood board. And I use that for the bottom part. And then the top part, I kind of had in mind, I want to say like the 60s or the 70s square type of picture art with like all those bright colors and everything. And so that I kind of had in mind when I was laying this out. And I just used washi tape because I figured the white in between would help balance. And I know this is completely not aligned right as far as like each square is a different size, but I am okay with that because in the end, once I take the tape off, I'm pretty sure it'll look not so uneven, and I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to look kind of handmade anyway. So, and I want each square to be a little different. So if they were all the same size, I think it might kind of bug me. And then everything else would have to be perfect. And I'm not really sure exactly what I'm going to do on the back of this. So, or not the back, but I don't know what I'm going to do with all of my photos. I know I have 2 photos that I want to use, and I did print them out in like black and white. I used a filter also from just plain old my iMovie, or not iMovie, but on my Mac, I just used the basic filters. They have a couple of black and white filters, and I just use a really soft one. I figured that would help because I have so much color on here, and I'm just using like a gray. It's a charcoal gray, so it's almost black, but it's almost like a chalkboard color. And then I have that yellow, and then a brighter pink, and then a light pink. And at first I wasn't sure if I wanted to make that like a super, super hot pink. But as you could see, I tried it out with just using the pink color, and because of the type of paint that it is very translucent, and so I added white to it. But I actually like it like this because the other color is a little darker and it's a little bit more rose color. But this light color, I think, just tones it down a little bit. And with all the other bright colors, I mean, the yellow is so bright and the blue is really bright. I think it looks a little bit better using that letter color as opposed to using an even brighter pink. And I did not use any gesso on here. I know that it could very well seep into the layout, but because it's acrylic paint, it dries so fast that I didn't think that it was going to be as big of a problem as if I just used like watercolors. Like if I did all this in watercolor, it would have been soaked up in the paper in no time, but it's pretty fast drying, and I tried not to use too much paint. Okay, so now I took everything off, and of course you can't see it, just what it looks like plain. I guess I cut that out. But I'm going to use some of this black behind those photos, or I'm going to use some of this black. At first I think I'm going to put this behind both of the photos, and then I kind of nix that. There we go. Now you can see how it looks. And yes, it isn't perfect, but I actually, like I said, I really like it this way, and it does remind me of like that 70s style of like geometric type of patterns, and it's just really, really fun. So what I kind of decided as I was doing that, I seen a piece of twine on my desk. Which, don't we all have like Apollo stuff that we just haven't used yet on our desk, right? Well, I had this pot of that in there, and it's bright, it's yellow and white, and it's probably hard to see that the yellow is in there, but there is yellow. And on one of the pieces on the other inspiration piece, it has this like white and black background, and the white, I'm not sure if it's the black is all these different lines that crisscross. Well, I kind of wanted to replicate that, but I wanted to use this twine, so that's what I did. And I didn't want to add just liquid glue because I thought it was going to be really, really messy. So I just used my tiny attacher, and I thought about using the tiny attacher on that cutout that I had from an ampersand that I cut out with a die. I kept that because I thought I might be able to use it. And I actually really like it there. It kind of tones down that yellow a little bit, but it adds just a little bit of something in that corner. And then, like I said, I just left that other black corrugated piece with those strings on there. And so here's some papers that I pulled out that I'm thinking about using for layers, because I just can't help it. I still have to add layers to my stuff, even though I already have tons of color going on. I mean, I just can't help it. But I tried to pick some stuff from, like, the Dear Lizzie has some yellows, and so there's that yellow and white, and then I have that black and white from Dear Lizzie, and I thought that that would be a good neutral type of a color. And then I have some of that word paper, and that's from 7 paper, and then this pink is also from Dear Lizzie, but that's Serendipity. And there is a design, but it reads pretty solid just because of it's a pretty simple design, and when it's layered like that, I don't think you can even see. And I am gonna kind of use my ruler on some of the edges of these just to, as you can see, I tried to do it there and I didn't like it because I just didn't have enough to catch. So then I cut it, and I'm not super thrilled with the way that turned out, which you could see. I thought about maybe adding another piece, but then I'm just like, I'm just gonna leave it. But I thought that ripping the edges would kind of give this a little bit of a more organic look, because the pictures show something super organic. It's a picture of my kids watching my husband take a piece of like sandstone that they had made and they put rocks in it, so they're mining for rocks. So he's tapping on the sandstone to look for rocks, and my kids are like super enthralled with what he's doing. At first I was going to use that blue side, and then I seen the black, and I'm thinking this black will look better. So I ripped that up too, and I'm just kind of working on the layers, and I kept putting that piece in there on that side because I thought that maybe I could use it, and then I'm like, well, maybe I'll use this side of the pink, you know, even though the pictures don't necessarily go with the layout at all. I mean, if just a little bit is showing, it doesn't bother me, but I just wasn't sure about it. So you can see me looking there. I put my hands on my mat, my elbows. I'm like, I don't know. And I kind of had a hard time because I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted. Whoop, I bumped my camera. Sorry about that. I wasn't really sure exactly how I wanted to layer everything on here. And I don't like that because there's that extra space. So this is bugging me. Because I don't want that space. Yeah. That space was bugging me. So as you can see, and then I decided to pull in this water paper, the pool color. I really like that blue, and I thought that I needed just a little bit of blue, and it's a little bit lighter, but I like the way that that looks. So, and I didn't want to cover up too much up at the top of that one picture. It shows my son's head, so that's, in a minute you're going to see me actually put that on top of there. And I'm using this Amy Tan paper because it has the pink and the yellow, and I really like it. And even though the lemons or oranges, whatever, they might be tangerines, that would probably be a good guess, right? And then so then I realized, hey, this will look really cool if I kind of make it like a weird looking square type of shape, kind of like Jill Sprout does this on occasion. She does like this messy like cluster in the middle, and everything goes around. And so that kind of inspired me a little bit as I was doing this. I was like, that will actually look really cool. And because I did it on purpose, right, It always makes it better in my mind if you do something on purpose. Even if it didn't start off that way. If you realize it and then you do it on purpose, I think it just, I don't know. I could just be fooling myself. But I really like that Also Gray card that said, these are the moments to remember forever. And I am going to cover up the heart there because I kind of cut through it by accident. And so I don't really care for the way that that looks. So I will end up kind of covering that up. And you'll see as I get going here, because I'm not quite done. I'm about halfway done here. Now I'm just kind of looking for embellishments. But I really want to keep this simple because there's a lot going on. And I added quite a bit of elements and stuff and layers to it. I really liked that little piece there from Dear Lizzie. I forget what it said. Never want to grow up is what it said. And I thought that that kind of matched because, you know, my kids are doing a science experiment and they're learning and discovering. And when you're a little kid, you just never want to grow up and you don't want your kids to grow up. That says Finders Keeper. And I really like that because it kind of, the yellow matched. And so actually for a while, I was just going to keep it on that one side where that gem is. I am going to use that because, you know, I have a hard time using gems. Gems and reindeer heads and bunnies. Bunnies, they're cute, but I just have a hard time using them because I don't own a bunny anymore. Though I do have some pictures of bunnies. But because I used to have one when I was a little kid. I should scrap it. See if I can find it. But I thought that this would be a good layout for that. And I really wanted to put that Finders Keepers over on down where that gem is. But I don't know. I couldn't get it to work to where I thought I liked it. It doesn't look too bad from overhead. And then I remembered I still have some pink and black. And I'm going to use that one blue one. Even though it's not the same color blue. I think it reads a little bit more gray blue maybe. I don't know. But I'm going to use it up at the top so you can't really tell. I ripped the heart. But I stuck that there. And I really like that card up at there. And then that covers up the heart a little bit so you can't see it. But it just adds something else to that. And it just kind of makes that messy cluster in the middle just go around. And it brings your eye around the whole thing. And I do kind of put these on pop dots. And I started off with 2. And you'll see I put it in and then I realized that it still needs another one. So I add another one. But I don't take the backing off on the inside. You'll see. Here I go. I add it. And I just leave it. I figure that it's going to sit in my album. And I don't think it'll have much of a problem. So at this point I'm thinking, this would be really cool if I take this stamp that says awesome. And use it as part of a title. So I'm going to put it up at the top to say awesome, and I'm getting close to being done because I cut off. Of course, I do not do this straight, and I mess up my thing, so I have to get out more ink or more paint because I wanted to fix it. So here I am trying to fix that spot, and actually, if you look at it quick, you can't tell. If you look at it close up, you're going to see that I had to fix it, but I thought I did a pretty good job fixing up that ink smudge. Because my only other thought was to do a Chamel and just or even Amy Tan, I've seen her do it, just like completely put something over top of it, but I thought that would look really silly. So I'm going to put the title down here, and I really like it down in that black because using something like this lighter gray really pops out, and so you can see it, and it tells you what this layout is about without reading the journaling. So it's just going to say mining. Well, I first put gems and then I decided to change it to rocks because it really wasn't gems that they were getting. They were actually getting rocks. And my kids were so excited because they were cool, different color rocks. And then I use that puffy sticker and I'm just about done. I just add a couple of puffy stickers and I decide I don't want any more, and I'm going to add some enamel hearts and dots to the rest of this, and then I am going to be done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you're inspired to you know, make a layout that's your style, but that's you. I mean, I love these bright colors, and so this was really, really fun to do something that kind of reminded me of something I would have did when I was a teenager. And my mom will contest to this that I use bright colors and I was just a bright child. So it was really, really fun because I don't generally do layouts this crazy, but it was just fun to do something completely different than what I normally do. So I challenge you guys to do something just a little bit different, but you. I mean, don't be afraid to be you on your pages. I mean, these are for your albums, they're for your family. You know, who cares what anybody else thinks the way that it looks? It needs to be you on that page. So I hope you guys go and look below and find out where you can find us over at the Crafty Maven. And I will see you guys later. Bye.